those transmission lines that are getting farmers so upset. Stringing up these power lines to hook up all the new wind and solar farms the government wants built all around the country. That's why there's going to be lines everywhere. They need these to replace the coal-fired power stations that the government's forcing out of business with green energy policies, state governments too. The cost of building those power lines has already blown out by up to 40%, says the Australian Energy Market Operator. And that's another cost, of course, that you're going to pay for. And one part of that cost is the compensation that farmers are wanting for having these power lines strung over their land. Compensation is now around $200,000 per kilometre. Sometimes we're now told this year there have been payments of $400,000 per kilometre. But as I said earlier, farmers in New South Wales are angry that they're actually being bullied into giving in to this. In fact, some face having their land taken off them so these power lines can be built. Joining me is Reg Kidd. He's a farmer, former Mayor of Orange, and the head of the New South Wales Farmers Energy Transition Working Group. Reg Kidd, great to talk to you. Look, farmers being offered compensation, $200,000 per kilometre for lines strung over their farms, next to their farmhouses. To a lot of people, that's going to sound like good money for jam. So why the anger?
Well, look, it really comes back to this just has not been genuine engagement with the communities, all the individuals, or consultation. It's always been promised. I've been to so many of these meetings when energy come on, that just tell you what they're doing, show you a map. That's where the lines are going. No, sometimes I don't think they've been out to see that line goes straight through someone's property or near their infrastructure, whether that's a house or whether it's sheds or other infrastructure. So in summary, it's just been very, very poor engagement, consultation with individuals and communities that are affected.
What is the hassle for farmers? Is it just like, I don't like the sight of it? Is it interfering with their operations? Is it just a quibble about the cost? What is the issue here?
Well, look, it's a number of issues. As I said, look, I know lines and roads and so forth, infrastructure's got to go actually somewhere. But it's interesting that in rural areas, and farmers seem to be carrying all the burden, to get cheaper, supposedly, electricity down to, to Sydney, for instance, as a good example. Now, these power lines and the structures that hold the lines are going through some of our best productive agricultural lands that we have in New South Wales. And we all know, we'll talk about how precious those agricultural lands are for sustainable food and fibre production for Australians and for export. And at the same time, we put up these horrible looking towers, which interfere with farming practices, by the way. Sometimes pit community members, well, you can't operate under them to a certain height. You can't do certain things under them. I know you hear the gobbledygook sometimes, oh, it doesn't interfere, you can do this under them, you can raise animals, you can grow crops and so forth. But I haven't seen any of that happen on a large scale. There's restrictions with sort of machinery and the height and how close you can go to it. And I think the other important one is some of the operations people use aircraft, whether it be helicopters or aeroplanes. And also in the case of a fire, quite often fires now are sort of they go in and firefight them with helicopters and planes. Now, well, you're not going to just zoom in and out around these towers.
Well, I can imagine, yes. And we're even hearing threats of possessing land, taking over the land if the farmers don't make a settlement. Look, I don't know where this is going. Reg Kidd, thank you so much indeed for your time.